This is a Kinposh, Love in the Air crossover podfic of gun violence, meaning violence against gun, by Solitary Bird. Read for you by Solitary Bird. This fic is rated M for graphic depictions of violence, torture, and Vegas thirsting over Pete being a badass. Summary. Vegas and Pete happen upon high school student Sky and Gun at one of Macau's illegal street races and take umbrage with Gun's abuse of a child who is literally wearing his school uniform. Pete has a rather violent solution, and Vegas is planning his next adoption. If there's one thing that Vegas knows about Pete, it's that he can handle himself. In fact, he can more than handle himself. It's very hot. However, just because Pete can handle things alone doesn't mean that he has to do so alone. Bringing someone to watch your back didn't hurt. So that's why Vegas was casually leaning against the support structure of a motorway overpass, watching Pete really go to town on some wannabe punk. He's had him dragged all the way here from one of Macau's illegal street races. The sheer disrespect of pulling him across the concrete purely by a vice-like grip on his ear was immaculate, an image that belonged on recruitment posters across the nation. Or maybe a tiny jealous voice said, "Just for my eyes only." Vegas shook his head. Pete was entirely too beautiful an entity to be for his eyes only. Plus, seeing Pete switch his personas like this tended to break people's brains when their only expectation of him was sweet baby boy, and that was always highly amusing. It had been months since the last time an idiot had managed to invoke this specific degree of hatred in his husband. Vegas planned to savour every second of it. This was an expression of anger that had firmly tipped over to adorable, in Vegas's mind at least. He'd go and help, but there's another kid, a much younger kid, Vegas was currently holding up right now. A kid they should have rushed to the compound's medical team, but who demanded to be here to witness this. Just looking at him made Vegas's blood boil. The kid was in his school uniform and there were bruises all over him. Under it was probably considerably worse things that Vegas was doing his damn hardest not to think about right now. Because if he does, the pistol in his holster was not going to stay there. This wannabe gangster deserves worse than a bullet through the head. Pete kicked the guy in the chest and he fell directly backwards into a puddle of rainwater runoff and gravel, fully submerging for a second before coming up, spraying water everywhere. The high schooler in his arms laughed, but those strangled chuckles turned into just as strangled sobs. Vegas gently gathered him into his arms like he once did a similarly aged Macau. He deserves it, Nong, Vegas reassured him. He's not going to know just how much so for a few weeks until Sky opened up to them. That's when Vegas's pride in Pete's almost supernatural bullshit detection abilities was going to flare even higher than it already was. "Look at him," Pete shouted. He was holding Gun up off of the ground by a vice-like grip on his chin. "He's a child. He's wearing his goddamn school uniform. He's a fucking slut." Sky went as stiff as a board. Vegas patted him reassuringly on the back and passed him to one of the bodyguards that had dragged Gun here. "If you could take Nong Sky here to wait in the car," Vegas said, doing his best to smile at the now shaking high school student. He had a knife in one of his hands, the other busy holding Gun in a headlock. He was saying something to him, but Vegas was too far away to hear what was being said. He was close enough to see the blood that gushed from the smooth cut Pete had made, separating an ear from the side of the younger man's head. Pete smiled, petting the side of the now earless man, cooing to him as he threw what was left of his ear to the floor, both comfort and pain. The human body can only take a certain amount of pressure on points as weak as the elbow. This creep was learning that now. The shoulder dislocated, and Pete kept going, despite the man now screaming and flailing beneath him, thrashing in the shallow water as he tried to relieve the pressure Pete's applying, but also prevent himself from drowning. Every time he almost passed out from the pain was amusing. Sky sneaked out of the car and ended up back at Vegas's side, peeping out from behind the old man's back to see the steady trickle of blood dripping down the side of his attacker's face. You didn't have to do this, Vegas's new temporary teen charge said. Vegas turned to look at him, expecting to have to comfort him in some way, but beneath his shocked exterior, there was something surprising. The glitter in his eyes was familiar, something he's seen on Pete's face more than once. It's an issue because Vegas isn't going to be able to walk out of here without adopting another kid now. This one was entirely too cute, entirely too much like his Pete, a living example of copy and paste in human form. No, we didn't, but we did, and everyone there should have done something, kid. You got anywhere to go? My pa's in Chiang Mai. Need a ticket home? Vegas asked. You can do that. In reality, he could make one phone call and have a helicopter here in less than an hour that would take this kid home before the sun rose. You don't need to do that. I'll be all right now. There's a scream which disturbed their conversation, then 2 gunshots which echo in the gap beneath the bridge, followed by more screaming. Nice, Vegas called out, giving a polite golf clap, kneecapping. He blows Pete a kiss. Pete merely rolled his eyes in response to his barely restrained flirting. Not in front of the kid, Pete hissed before turning to talk to said kid. Not got anywhere to go? He's using his baby voice, the one he used when he finds someone or something especially adorable, which was great because he probably wouldn't want to fight Vegas too hard on everything he's about to do. I have school, the kid said. I meant somewhere to sleep, somewhere to keep your things, somewhere you'll be safe. Oh, Vegas's phone rang. He cursed, but it's Kin and he can't ignore him today, even if he desperately wants to. Why are you and Pete so late to family dinner? Kin demanded on the other end of the phone. He sounded pissed off. We're having sex, Vegas responded coolly, before hanging up on him. Do you want to come to an extremely awkward family dinner and annoy my cousin with me? He asked the kid they've only known for approximately 20 minutes. Guy laughed in response before he ran to the car and got in. Author's note. Inspired by a dream where Pete beat Gun from Love in the Air with a bike lock under an underpass. The end. Thank you for listening.